Imagine this. You walk into a room and you see someone you'd really like to talk to, but your mind goes blank. You want to say something, but the words don't come out. Has this ever happened to you? If so, you're not alone. Many English learners feel this way. The good news is that with the right conversation starters, you can begin talking with anyone, anywhere. And you'll sound confident, natural, and friendly. Hello, English learners. Welcome back to Talk English Now. I'm Sarah, and today we're going to talk about how to begin conversations naturally and confidently in English. I'll guide you step by step, and together we'll practice useful starters that you can use in everyday life. Starting a conversation is really about breaking the silence in a simple, friendly way. You don't need perfect grammar or complicated words. You just need the courage to open your mouth and say something small. And once you do, the conversation can flow much more easily. Think of a conversation starter like a key. It doesn't need to be big or fancy. It just needs to unlock the door. So let's imagine the first scenario. You're meeting someone for the first time, maybe at school, at work, or in a social place like a cafe. One of the most natural things to do is to greet them with a smile and ask a simple question. For example, you could say, "Hi, how's your day going?" Or, "Hello, nice to meet you. Are you enjoying the event?" These sentences may look simple, but they're powerful because they open the door for the other person to respond in many ways. Now, imagine you're sitting in a classroom for the first time and the person next to you looks friendly. You want to talk, but you don't know how to begin. You could turn to them and say, "Hi, is this your first time in this class too?" Or, "Hey, have you studied English here before?" These questions show interest and invite the other person to share their experience. That's the key. A good conversation starter is not about giving information. It's about inviting the other person to speak. Another very common place to start conversations is at work. Maybe with a colleague you don't know very well. At work, the conversation needs to feel polite, but also easy. So you could say, "Good morning, how's your week going so far?" Or, "Hi, have you been working on this project for long?" These kinds of questions are neutral, friendly, and safe. They show you're open to connecting without being too personal. Think about when you meet someone at a social event, like a party or a gathering with friends. You might feel pressure to say something funny or impressive, but really, simple works best. You could start with something about the environment. For example, "This music is great, isn't it?" Or, "I love the food here. Have you tried it yet?" When you comment on what's around you, it feels natural and helps the other person reply easily. Sometimes conversation starters can also be about giving compliments. But remember, compliments should feel genuine, not forced. If you notice something nice about the person, say it. For example, "I like your jacket. It looks really comfortable." Or, "That's a great bag. Where did you get it?" People usually respond positively to compliments because they feel seen and appreciated. And from there, you can move the conversation forward. Let's practice together. I'll say the starter, and you repeat it after me. Ready? "Hi, how's your day going?" Good. Now again. "Hello, nice to meet you. Are you enjoying the event?" Excellent. And one more. I like your jacket. It looks really comfortable. Great work. Each time you practice these aloud, they become more natural. And when the real situation comes, the words will flow out more easily. Sometimes you might wonder, what if the person doesn't respond much? What if they just say, fine, or yes, and stop? Don't worry. That happens. Your job is simply to open the door. If they don't want to talk, that's okay. You tried. But if they give even a small response, you can build on it. For example, if they say, yeah, my day is fine, you can follow up with, that's good. What have you been working on today? This shows interest and keeps the flow going. Another way to start a conversation naturally is to ask for help or information. People usually like helping others, so it's a safe way to connect. For example, excuse me, do you know what time this class starts? Or, hi, can you tell me where the coffee machine is? These questions may be practical, but they also create an opening for a longer conversation. And sometimes, small practical talks turn into real friendships. Imagine you're traveling, maybe at the airport, a train station, or a hotel. These are great opportunities to practice English conversation starters. At the airport, you might say to the person waiting next to you, is this your first time flying with this airline? Or, wow, this line is long, isn't it? Simple observations like these create a shared moment, and that can lead to friendly talk. At a hotel, you could ask another guest, have you tried the breakfast here yet? This kind of small talk is perfect for travel situations. Remember, conversation starters are not about, saying something brilliant. They're about being friendly, curious, and human. People usually appreciate when someone takes the effort to connect. And the more you practice these lines, the more natural they'll sound. In the beginning, it might feel like you're memorizing, but with time, it will feel like your own words. Let's do another round of practice together. Repeat after me. Good morning. How's your week going so far? Nice. Next one. This music is great, isn't it? Good job. And one more. Excuse me, do you know what time this class starts? Perfect. These small sentences are your tools, like little keys that unlock the conversation door. You may also worry about making mistakes, but let me remind you, mistakes are not barriers. They are bridges. When you start a conversation, no one is judging your grammar. They are listening to your energy, your friendliness, and your intention to connect. Even if your sentence is not perfect, the other person will usually understand, and they'll often be happy that you started talking in English at all. Think of every conversation starter as practice. Every time you say, "Hi, how are you?" or "That's a nice shirt," you are building your fluency. You're training your brain to think in English, not just study English. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. It's like training a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. So here's a little challenge for you. After this lesson, try one of these starters in real life. Maybe with a colleague, a neighbor, or even a shop assistant. It doesn't need to be a long conversation. Just start. Say the first sentence and see where it goes. You'll be surprised how often people respond positively and how much confidence you'll gain. And remember, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be brave enough to begin. Let's look at another everyday situation. Talking to your neighbors. Maybe you see them outside watering their plants, or you meet them in the elevator. Starting a conversation with neighbors can feel a little awkward if you don't know them well, but it can also be one of the easiest ways to build connections. For example, you could say, "Hi, I don't think we've met before. I'm Sarah. I live just down the hall." Or, "Good evening. The weather has been really nice lately, hasn't it?" These small, friendly openers make your neighbor feel comfortable and open to chatting. Sometimes, you don't even need a question. Just a simple comment works as a starter. For instance, "I like the flowers you planted out front. They look beautiful." Or, "That's a cute dog. What's its name?" People usually enjoy talking about things they care about, like their pets, their gardens, or their families. By noticing small details and mentioning them, you create a natural path into conversation. Now picture yourself in a store, maybe a supermarket or a clothing shop. You're standing next to someone looking at the same shelf. That moment can be perfect for a light starter. You could say, "Wow, there are so many options. Which one do you usually choose?" Or, "I've never tried this brand before, have you?" These little comments not only start conversations, but can also make everyday tasks like shopping more enjoyable. Let's do a short practice together. Repeat after me. "Good evening. The weather has been really nice lately, hasn't it?" Great. Next one. "That's a cute dog. What's its name?" Perfect. And one more. "Wow, there are so many options. Which one do you usually choose?" Excellent. Each of these feels casual and natural, and they all help you start talking without pressure. Another common situation is meeting classmates or colleagues in a group, maybe before class begins or during a break at work. Instead of sitting silently, you can take the first step. Say something simple like, "Have you started the assignment yet?" Or, "How are you finding this course so far?" At work, you could ask, "Have you worked with this software before?" These questions are useful because they connect to something you both share, the same class, the same job, the same environment. When you want to start a conversation with strangers in social places, it often helps to focus on what you both can see or hear. For example, at a coffee shop, you could say, "This place smells amazing, doesn't it?" Or, "Do you know if the muffins here are good?" If you're at the gym, you might ask, "How long have you been coming here?" These questions show genuine curiosity and create small but real connections. You might be thinking, "What if I'm too shy to talk to strangers?" That's completely normal. Many people feel the same way. The trick is to start small. Even one short sentence can build your courage. Begin with the easiest starter, like saying hello to the cashier when you buy something. Try, "Hi, how's your day going so far?" Or, "Thanks a lot. I hope the rest of your day is good." These are polite, safe, and they make you feel comfortable using English outside of practice. Let's pause for a moment here. If you're enjoying this lesson, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more daily English practice. Every time you support the channel, it helps me bring you more lessons like this, designed to make your English practice simple, fun, and effective. All right, let's continue. Sometimes you might be in situations where you don't know what to talk about. In those cases, one of the best strategies is to ask about the other person's experience. People usually enjoy sharing their opinions or stories. For example, if you're at a restaurant waiting for your meal, you might ask the person near you, "Have you been here before? What do you recommend?" Or if you're in a waiting room, you could ask, "Do you know how long the wait usually is here?" These are practical questions, but they also open up space for a friendly conversation. Another great approach is to talk about something seasonal. People often bond over weather, holidays, or time of year. You can say, "Can you believe how hot it's been lately?" Or, "Are you ready for the holidays?" These kinds of starters work almost anywhere because everyone experiences the same season or weather at the same time. It's easy, relatable, and natural. Now let's practice these. Repeat after me. Have you been here before? What do you recommend? Good. Do you know how long the wait usually is here? Excellent. Are you ready for the holidays? Perfect. These questions are friendly, simple, and always useful. You might notice that many of these starters are open-ended. That means they invite more than just a yes or no answer. For example, "How are you finding this course so far?" is better than asking, "Do you like the course?" Because the first one gives the other person space to share more details. The more open-ended your starter, the more natural the conversation will feel. But what if you do get a short answer? Let's say you ask, "How's your day going?" And the person replies, "Good," and stops there. What do you do? Don't panic. You can simply follow up with a small detail about yourself and then ask another open question. For example, "Good. I'm glad to hear I've been really busy today with work. How about you?" By sharing something small about yourself, you keep the balance and encourage them to respond again. Think of starting conversations as planting little seeds. Some will grow quickly into long talks, some may stay small, but each one matters. Each starter is practice for your fluency, confidence, and social skills in English. The more seeds you plant, the more connections you'll make over time. Imagine being at a park and seeing someone reading a book. A perfect starter would be, "That looks interesting. What are you reading?" Or if you see someone jogging with headphones, you might say, after they stop, "That was a great run. Do you come here often?" In gyms, parks, cafés, trains, or buses. Little moments like these are all opportunities to practice starting conversations. Let's practice together again. Repeat after me. "That looks interesting. What are you reading?" Great. "That was a great run. Do you come here often?" Perfect. "This place smells amazing, doesn't it?" Excellent. Keep repeating until they feel natural. That way, when the moment comes, you won't hesitate. The important thing is to be genuine. Don't memorize starters just to say them like a robot. Feel them. Imagine yourself in that place, see the person, and then say the sentence in your mind before you practice aloud. The more realistic the practice, the easier it will feel in real situations. And don't forget, even if the conversation doesn't continue for long, you've still succeeded. Why? Because you practiced. You showed courage. and you used English in the real world. That's the biggest step. Every small starter adds up to big confidence. Let's explore one of the most common places to practice starting conversations: cafés and coffee shops. These places are full of opportunities because people are often relaxed, waiting for their drinks, or sitting down to enjoy some time. Imagine you're in line and the person next to you is looking at the menu. You could say, "So many choices. What's your favorite drink here?" Or if you see someone working on a laptop, you might smile and ask, "Do you usually work here? It looks like a nice place to focus." These simple questions can open the door to casual, friendly exchanges. Cafes are also great for commenting on the environment. For example, "This place has such a cozy atmosphere, don't you think?" Or, "The smell of coffee here is amazing, isn't it?" Comments like these are safe, universal, and easy for the other person to respond to. Remember, you're not trying to impress with big words. You're simply making a connection through something you both notice. Now picture yourself on public transport, maybe a bus, train, or subway. Starting a conversation here should always feel respectful and light, because people are sometimes tired or focused on their journey. A gentle way to start could be, "Is this the right train to downtown?" Or, "Do you know how long it usually takes to get to the station from here?" These questions are practical, but they also give you a natural opening to connect. If the person seems open, you can continue with another light question. For example, "Do you take this route often?" In airports or while traveling, conversation starters become especially useful. Imagine waiting in line at security, sitting at a gate, or standing at baggage claim. These moments are shared experiences, and that makes it easier to connect. You might say, "Is this your first time flying with this airline?" Or, "Are you traveling for work or for vacation?" These starters not only begin conversations, but sometimes lead to really interesting stories from people who love sharing about their journeys. Let's practice these travel and transport examples together. Repeat after me. "So many choices. What's your favorite drink here?" Good. "Is this the right train to downtown?" Excellent. "Are you traveling for work or for vacation?" Perfect. Keep saying these out loud until they feel natural in your mouth. Because when the moment comes, your brain will be ready to use them instantly. Now think about social gatherings, like parties, weddings, or community events. At these kinds of places, everyone expects to talk to others, so starting conversations is usually easier. One of the best ways to start is by noticing something around you. For example, "The decorations look beautiful, don't they?" Or, "The food here is really good. Have you tried the desserts yet?" You can also ask about the connection to the event. "How do you know the host?" Or, "Have you been to one of these events before?" These openers are polite, safe, and make people feel included. At social gatherings, compliments also work really well, but remember to keep them genuine. You might say, "That's a lovely dress. Where did you get it?" Or, "I really like your tie. It suits you." These kinds of starters make people feel appreciated, and they often respond with warmth. From there, you can continue naturally by asking another question or sharing something small about yourself. Another important area is online conversations, maybe on social media, online classes, or community forums. Starting a conversation online also requires friendliness and respect. You could begin with, "Hi, I really enjoyed your comment about learning English. How long have you been studying?" Or, "Thanks for sharing that idea. It was really helpful. Do you use it often?" Online starters are just as valuable as face-to-face ones because they let you practice real communication in English with people from around the world. Now let's practice a few from the social and online setting. Repeat after me. How do you know the host? Great. That's a lovely dress. Where did you get it? Excellent. Hi, I really enjoyed your comment about learning English. How long have you been studying? Perfect. These lines may seem simple, but when said with a genuine tone, they work wonderfully to begin conversations. You might be wondering, how do I know if someone wants to talk or not? This is an important skill, too. Pay attention to body language. If someone gives short answers, avoids eye contact, or looks distracted, it's okay to let the conversation end. Don't force it. But if someone smiles, asks you a question back, or gives longer answers, that's a good sign they're happy to continue talking. Learning to notice these signals makes your starters even more successful. Sometimes conversations don't need to be long. A short, friendly exchange can still make a difference. For example, imagine you're buying a coffee. You say to the barista, "Hi, how's your day going so far?" And they reply, "Busy, but good, thanks." That's it. Short, but meaningful. You've practiced your English, shown friendliness, and made a small connection. That counts as success. Let's imagine another scenario together. You're waiting for a bus, and the person next to you looks at their watch. You can start with, "Do you know if the bus is usually on time?" If they respond with more than just yes or no, you can continue. Maybe they say, "Not really, it's often late." You could follow up with, "Oh, really? I'm new to this route. Thanks for letting me know." Notice how one simple starter grows into a short conversation. That's all it takes. Another idea is to use shared experiences like weather. People everywhere talk about weather because it's something we all live with. You can say, "It's been raining so much this week, hasn't it?" Or, "This sunshine feels amazing after so many cold days." Weather comments are light, universal, and always safe for conversation. They work with strangers, neighbors, co-workers, and almost anyone. Let's practice again. Repeat after me. Do you know if the bus is usually on time? Good. It's been raining so much this week, hasn't it? Excellent. The sunshine feels amazing after so many cold days. Perfect. Each of these is like a small tool you can carry in your pocket and use whenever you need. Remember, the goal is not to have the perfect sentence. The goal is to connect. When you focus on connection instead of perfection, the pressure goes away. You become more relaxed, and people feel that energy too. That's why conversation starters are so powerful. They help you take the first step, and once you're moving, the rest feels easier. And here's something important. The first few seconds are the hardest, but after you say the first line, your confidence immediately grows. Think of it like jumping into a swimming pool. The moment before you jump feels scary, but once you're in, it feels refreshing and natural. The same is true for starting conversations. Just take the leap with one small line, and you'll be surprised how easy it feels afterwards. So here's another little challenge for you. Imagine 3 places you go to regularly, maybe a cafe, a bus stop, and a store. Think of one starter you can use in each place. Say it out loud right now. For the cafe, maybe. So many choices. What's your favorite drink here? For the bus stop, maybe. Do you know if the bus is usually on time? For the store, maybe. Wow, there are so many options. Which one do you usually choose? Practicing these ahead of time makes you prepared and confident. The more you prepare, the less nervous you'll feel. And soon, starting conversations in English will become as natural as saying hello to a friend. Let's talk about another important setting where conversation starters matter a lot: networking events or professional situations. These can be conferences, job fairs, or even team meetings. Many learners feel nervous here because they want to sound professional. But remember, even in professional settings, simple works best. You can begin with something like, "Hi, I'm Sarah, what do you do?" Or, "How long have you been working in this field?" These questions are polite, clear, and they show interest in the other person's experience. Another useful starter in professional contexts is asking about the event itself. For example, "What did you think of the last speaker?" Or, "Is this your first time at this conference?" These kinds of questions feel natural because you're both sharing the same environment, and they're easy for the other person to answer. Once the conversation starts, you can follow up by asking more about their work, their studies, or their opinions. Now let's practice. Repeat after me. "Hi, I'm Sarah. What do you do?" Good. "How long have you been working in this field?" Excellent. "Is this your first time at this conference?" Perfect. Practicing these starters out loud helps you feel prepared for real professional moments. Cultural differences can also play a role in how conversations begin. In some countries, people love to talk about their jobs or families right away. In others, that might feel too personal. So when in doubt, start with neutral topics like the weather, the environment, or the event you're both attending. These are safe and respectful. And as you build trust, you can move to deeper topics naturally. Let's look at another scenario. Imagine you're in a library or a study space. It's usually quiet, so you want to keep your starter gentle and polite. You might whisper, "Excuse me, is this seat taken?" Or, "Do you know if this section has English learning books?" These are practical questions, but they open the door to a short, friendly exchange. And sometimes that's all it takes to begin building confidence. Think about when you're in a gym. People are often focused, but conversation starters can still work well between sets or while taking a break. You could say, "That was a tough workout. Do you come here often?" Or, "Do you know how to use this machine?" These questions feel natural in the environment, and they show interest without being too personal. Another key idea is to keep the conversation alive after you've started it. A conversation starter is just the beginning, but how do you keep it flowing? The secret is follow-up questions. For example, if you say, "What do you do?" and the person replies, "I'm an engineer," you can continue with, "That's interesting. What kind of projects do you usually work on?" Or if someone says, "I've been studying English for 2 years," you can ask, "That's great. What made you want to start learning English?" Follow-up questions show curiosity and make the conversation richer. Let's practice some follow-up examples. Repeat after me. "That's interesting. What kind of projects do you usually work on?" "Good." "That's great. What made you want to start learning English?" "Excellent." Notice how these questions go deeper, inviting the other person to share more. Another trick is to share small details about yourself. For example, if someone says, "I'm from Spain," you could say, "Oh, I've always wanted to visit Spain. What's it like where you live?" By adding your own thought, you create balance and encourage the other person to continue. Conversations are not interviews, they're exchanges. So remember to give as well as ask. Sometimes you might feel nervous because you don't know what to say next. A good strategy is to listen carefully to what the other person says and pick one detail to ask about. For example, if they mention they like cooking, you can ask, "What's your favorite dish to cook?" Or if they say they enjoy sports, you can say, "Which team do you support?" Listening is your best tool for keeping conversations alive. Let's practice together again. Repeat after me. "What's your favorite dish to cook?" Good. "Which team do you support?" Excellent. These kinds of questions are simple, but they show you're paying attention, and people always appreciate that. Here's another common challenge. What if the conversation suddenly feels awkward or quiet? This happens to everyone. One way to recover is to bring the focus back to something in your shared environment. For example, "This place is really busy today, isn't it?" Or, "The weather has been unusual this week, don't you think?" These small comments fill the silence and gently restart the flow. Imagine yourself waiting in line at a bookstore. The line is long, and the person in front of you looks bored. You could smile and say, "The line is moving slowly today, isn't it?" This is light, friendly, and often makes the other person smile. It's not about the topic being exciting, it's about showing warmth and friendliness. That's what makes the difference. Another powerful tool is humor. You don't need to tell jokes, but light, positive comments can make people feel at ease. For example, if it starts raining suddenly, you might say, "I guess the weather didn't read the forecast today." Small, playful comments like this often break the ice quickly. Just remember to keep humor kind and light, never at someone else's expense. Let's practice some of these. Repeat after me. "This place is really busy today, isn't it?" Good. "The line is moving slowly today, isn't it?" Excellent. "I guess the weather didn't read the forecast today." Perfect. Practicing these will make you feel more natural when the moment comes. Sometimes you'll want to start conversations that go beyond small talk. Maybe you want to build real friendships. In that case, conversation starters can move to deeper topics. You can ask, "What kind of music do you like?" Or, "Have you seen any good movies lately?" These questions invite personal opinions and stories, and they help you find common interests that can grow into longer conversations. Another idea is to talk about hobbies. For example, "Do you enjoy reading?" Or, "What do you usually do on weekends?" These questions are safe, open, and they often lead to more exciting topics. When you find something in common, like a shared love of books, sports, or travel, the conversation flows easily and naturally. Let's practice again. Repeat after me. What kind of music do you like? Good. Have you seen any good movies lately? Excellent. What do you usually do on weekends? Perfect. These are great starters for building deeper connections. Remember, conversations are not tests. There is no right or wrong answer. They are moments of connection, and every time you practice starting one, you become braver and more fluent. It's like building a bridge, step by step, word by word. The more you practice, the stronger the bridge becomes, until one day you realize you can talk to anyone, anywhere, without fear. Let's imagine one last important scenario: traveling abroad and meeting strangers in a new country. This can feel intimidating, but it's actually one of the best opportunities to practice your English, because people expect to meet travelers and often enjoy sharing advice. For example, if you're in a new city, you can start with, "Hi, I'm visiting here. Do you have any recommendations for places to see?" Or, "Excuse me, do you know a good place to eat nearby?" These starters not only help you practice English, but also give you useful information. You might even make a new friend along the way. Travel situations are full of conversation opportunities. On a tour, you could say, "Where are you from?" At a museum, you might ask, "What do you think of this painting?" On a train, you could say, "Is this your first time taking this route?" These small questions open the door to conversations that can last minutes or even hours. And the more you use them, the more confident you'll feel speaking English with people from different cultures. Confidence, of course, is the key. And one of the best ways to build it is by practicing every day, even if it's just with one small sentence. Try talking to a shop assistant, a taxi driver, or someone waiting in line with you. It doesn't matter if the conversation is short. What matters is that you spoke. Every time you do this, your courage grows and your English becomes smoother. Here's a little exercise you can do daily. Before you leave the house, choose one conversation starter and promise yourself to use it. For example, "Hi, how's your day going so far?" Or, "This weather is really nice today, isn't it?" By practicing one starter each day, you'll build a habit. And soon, starting conversations will feel natural, automatic, and easy. Let's practice a few more together. Repeat after me. "Hi, I'm visiting here. Do you have any recommendations for places to see?" Good. Excuse me, do you know a good place to eat nearby? Excellent. Where are you from? Perfect. Remember to say these with a smile, because your tone and body language matter as much as your words. Another trick to boost your confidence is to prepare for common answers. For example, if you ask, "Where are you from?" and they say, "I'm from Italy," you can reply with, Oh, I've heard Italy is beautiful. What city are you from? Preparing a second question keeps the conversation moving and prevents awkward silence. It shows you're interested and gives the other person more to say. Also, remember that your goal is not to impress. It's to connect. When you remove the pressure to sound perfect, you free yourself to enjoy the moment. People don't remember every word you say. They remember how you made them feel. If you make them feel comfortable and appreciated, they will enjoy talking to you, no matter how simple your English is. Sometimes you might even want to end the conversation politely, and that's okay too. You can say, "It was nice talking to you. Have a great day." Or, "Thanks for the chat. I really enjoyed it." Ending with kindness leaves a positive impression and shows confidence. Remember, conversations don't need to last forever to be valuable. Even a few minutes can make a big difference. Think of all the places where you can use these starters. Cafés, buses, schools, gyms, airports, parties, workplaces, stores, parks, libraries, and even online. Every place is a classroom for you. Every person is a teacher. And every conversation is a chance to grow. The more you see the world this way, the faster your English will improve. Let's do one final practice round together. Repeat after me. It was nice talking to you. Have a great day. Good. Thanks for the chat. I really enjoyed it. Excellent. And one more. Hi, how's your day going so far? Perfect. These phrases are your tools, your confidence builders, and your steps toward fluency. I want you to remember something important. Starting a conversation is not about being perfect. It's about being brave enough to take the first step. Every time you speak, you are training your brain to think in English. You are building your fluency, and you are proving to yourself that you can connect with people around the world, and that is a wonderful skill to have. So the next time you see someone you'd like to talk to, don't wait for the perfect moment. Just take a breath, smile, and say one of these simple starters. You'll be surprised how often people respond with kindness, and how quickly your confidence will grow. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I'm really proud of you for practicing, for listening, and for challenging yourself to become more fluent. Every small step you take brings you closer to your goal. So keep going, keep practicing, and keep believing in yourself. You have everything it takes to succeed. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell icon so you don't miss future lessons. I'll be here with you, guiding you every step of the way. Until next time, keep practicing and keep shining with your English.